Just a few more seconds. Yes, please.
Shall we start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you all for joining this Halaqa, the youth English-speaking Halaqa. We are now well into the second week, coming into the third week, soon to start, well, about to start the third week of Ramadan. And we will continue on the Ramadan theme with our talk today, inshallah. Dr. Imran Bhai will talk about the subject of Zakat and what that is and its importance in not only in Ramadan, but obviously in Islam itself. So over to you, Imran Bhai.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So today I'm going to talk about actually the Zakat, its meaning, its importance in Islam. We know just it is obligatory. We just know that it is fard, but to what extent? If somebody misses it, is it does it have the similar status as Salah? If somebody doesn't pay Zakat, what would be the consequence and how severe it could be in this world and in the hereafter? And also we'll talk about the Zakat, payable sectors as well, who are eligible to get Zakat and who are eligible to pay Zakat, both, inshallah. And some of the questions I'm going to deal with, and you can also ask questions live as well. So Zakat meaning is, normally we know that Zakat is basically the purification, tazkiyah. It is a kind of a tazkiyatul mal, okay, the purification of the wealth. So, but it has got some other meanings. One of the meanings is, Zakat means barakah. Barakah means, it is like something increasing gradually by its amount, which has, something growing basically, the growth. Okay, so because if you pay Zakat, it is the wa'da, the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that your wealth will be increased. So I'm going to relate some verses and the hadith as well related with it. And the third meaning is tahara. Tahara means the cleanliness. When we do wudu, what we do is we clean our body. So this is part of tahara. So that is cleanliness of our body. Okay, but for the mal, for our wealth and asset, the cleanliness is basically, when do you clean something? Clean means you've got some dirt on your hand, so you're cleaning it. Okay, so you've eaten something, so you want to clean your hand. Okay, wash your hands. So basically, it washes away all the dirts. So of wealth, whatever wealth or asset you have acquired, or the money you have acquired, if there is any shortcomings there, if there is any weakness there, it could be even after putting all efforts to earn halal income, there could be without unintentionally, or which is beyond your control, there could be some dirt in it, like there could be some shortcoming or filth in it, so which maybe we are not aware of. So by paying Zakat, you are going to clean your asset, your money, your wealth. Okay, in Sharia, according to the Sharia, the definition is the fixed obligatory portion of your asset or wealth for a financially capable Muslim. Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, Zakat, what Zakat does, three things, obviously, all these three things that I mentioned in definition. Sadaqah, or the Zakat, purifies the mind and soul, increases the wealth, and cleans the dirt from the wealth or the filth from the wealth. Okay, so now this zakat, has it been made obligatory only on the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No, it has been made obligatory to all ummah of all prophets. In Quran, in many places, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, Surah Anbiya, verse number 73, Allah was mentioning about Ibrahim alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, that, and we made them leaders guiding by our command, and we inspired them the doing of good deeds. Three things: doing of good deeds, amal saleh, and then aqimi salat wa atu zakat. The establishment of prayer and giving zakat. And they were the worshippers. وَكَانُوا لَنَا عَابِدِينَ. So those who want to claim that they are abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have to do all these three things. Okay, so amal saleh, aqim salat, and wa'at zakat. In another place, Surah Maryam, verse number 55, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was mentioning about Ismail alayhi salam, that he also used to do the same thing. What is it? وكان يأمر أهله بالصلاة والزكاة وكان عند ربه مرضية. That he used to, Ismail alayhi salam, used to enjoin on his people, on his family members, prayer and zakat, salat or zakat. Okay, so these two things, and was to his Lord pleasing. Okay, so now, even in general, the Bani Israel, there are many prophets came after Ishaq alayhi salam. Ishaq alayhi salam's another name is Israel, effectively, and that's why the people coming from his progeny are called Bani Israel, or the sons of Israel. It is effectively, I'm sure Ibrahim alayhi salam had two sons. One is Ismail alayhi salam. In the progeny of Ismail alayhi salam came Bani Ismail, and in that progeny, just only one prophet came, that was the Khatamun Nabiyyin, best of the prophet, Rasulullah, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On the other lineage of Bani Israel, meaning Ishaq alayhi salam, came all the other prophets until Isa alayhi salam. So for the people of Bani Israel as well, Surah Baqarah, verse number 83, Allah was mentioning that, that basically Allah made a covenant to them that do not worship except Allah, and to parents do your good, be kind, be good to your parents and to relatives, and to orphans and the needy, and speak to the people good words, and establish prayer and give zakat. Okay, but the point is, Allah is mentioning that about them, that then they turned away effectively, except a few of them, and they were refusing. Okay, so now then came up to Isa alayhi salam, if we want to mention Surah Maryam, verse number 31, wa awsani bis salati wa zakah ma dumtu hayya. That Isa alayhi salam was saying that Allah has enjoined upon me prayer and zakat. Okay, salat and zakat, as long as I remain alive. Ma dumtu hayya. Subhanallah. So that means as long as you are in this life, basically zakat is forced upon you the moment you have the Nisab level. I'm going to define what is Nisab. Nisab level asset, or money or wealth. Okay, so now, if we talk about, say, for example, how severe it could be, in terms of, say, for example, punishment in this dunya, you don't need to wait. Allah wouldn't wait. There could be punishment even in this world. So if we could write down the reference in Surah Al-Qalam, chapter number 68, verses 19 to 33. Sometimes we tend to look for stories. This is a beautiful story of some people. What they have done, they made a plan between them that, in the land, they did some cultivation. So they made a plan that, okay, we are not going to basically, what is it called? Cut all our, crops, right? during the daytime, because if we do that during the daytime, some poor people may see it and they may come and they may ask for some help. So that's why what we do is during night time, when everybody is sleeping, we will go to the field, and then we'll cut all the crops. We'll take all the crops from at that time during the night times, so that nobody can see and the poor people cannot realize. So then that way, basically, we're going to what is it called? Save ourselves from paying our earning. Okay, some of our crops we don't need to give to anybody, so everything will be ours. Okay, so Allah Subhanahu wa Taala didn't like it. What happened? Following, after the night, before people started waking up, when they went to their what is it called, field, so they found that all their crops were as if somebody has taken away. It's already destroyed, basically. So then they immediately realized that they did it wrong. So you can see, Allah didn't wait for them to die. Not in Akhirah. Just even in this dunya, Allah will destroy your wealth. It may not come true for everybody, but it may come true for you. You never know. Okay, so this punishment possibility is there. But what about the Akhirah? It is very severe, very severe. That when the believers, they will ask the non-believers, ma salakakum fi saqar, what put you into saqar, meaning the torment of the hellfire. Yeah, then they will say that they will say, we were not of those who prayed, nor did we used to feed the poor. Feed the poor is one of the major categories of zakat recipients. Okay. And this poverty is one of the main principle, basically. Some people, they tend to ask, who should I pay to? Who should be the recipient of my zakat? Major principle you mentioned, you have to think that, okay, whether the person or the recipient is needy, does he have the extreme need, or is he poor? Okay, so that's why this feeding the poor is so, Allah has given so importance, and then they are saying that, and we used to enter into vain discourse with those who engaged in it, and we used to deny the day of recompense until hatta atana al-yaqeen, until there came to us the certainty, meaning the death. Al-yaqeen, very satirically Allah is mentioning here. Actually, it is the death is the certain thing. In our whole life, the day we are born, the most certain thing is our death. All other things, whether we are going to marry, whether we are going to get the job, whether how much educated we are going to be, these are all uncertain. But the certain thing is definitely one day we are going to die, and that's why Allah mentioned it as al-yaqeen. So until there came to us the certainty. So this is the recognition they are going to give the people from the hellfire, that okay, they would realize, they would identify what are the major reasons. Major reasons is we were not praying. We were not those who prayed. We were not from among the Musallin, right? And also we didn't used to basically feed the poor. In another set of verse, chapter number 69, verses 25 to 37. If you read all 13 verses, you're going to get the full, what is it called, discussion. But I'm going to just mention the portion on the punishment thing. Those who would not, what is it called? They do not encourage others to feed the poor. Okay, so that means definitely they don't do it themselves as well. So Allah is saying that khuzuhu faghullu thumma al-jahilu sallu thumma fi silsilatin zar'uha sab'una zira'an faslukuh innahu kana la yu'minu billahi al-azim wa la yahuddu ala ta'amil miskin. So two things, okay. The first thing, okay, is Allah will command the angels that what you do is seize him and shackle him, then into hellfire drive him, put him in the hellfire, then into a chain whose length is 70 cubits, insert him, okay. Indeed, he didn't used to believe in Allah. Two things he used to lack. Number one is he didn't used to believe in Allah, the Most Great. And number two is, nor did he encourage the feeding of the poor. You can see. So that means if you don't do, it is actually beyond zakat, zakat and also sadaqah. We have to make a practice, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول ربي لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, in Surah Munafiqun, that, spend in the way of Allah until the day comes when, he will realize basically, until the death comes. And after the death, they will realize that, the importance of sadaqah is so much. Yeah. It's the importance of sadaqat is so much, and they will realize, and then they will cry out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, please send me for another time to the dunya, to the world, give me life back a little bit, so that what I do is fa'asaddaq, I continue spending, wa akum minas salihin, and I continue spending and be among the salihin, the good doers. Only then he will realize, when he is going to be in the grave, only then he's going to realize that what a mistake he did, that he didn't used to spend in the way of Allah, or he didn't used to feed the poor, right? So that's why we have to take it very seriously. Zakat, please, when the time comes, you set a time. Generally, it is preferable to set the time for paying zakat in the month of Ramadan, because the month of Ramadan is the month of barakah, right? So calculate all your assets and receivables, every penny, and calculate all your liabilities and payables, and then you deduct the assets and receivables. You deduct basically the liabilities and payables from the assets and receivables, whatever net is there. If this net amount falls into the Nisab level, and generally according to Hanafi madhab, most of us are Hanafi, it is, you take the Nisab of silver. Okay, I'm going to tell you for this year what is the amount, inshallah, in a moment. Okay, so basically take it seriously. Don't just calculate wishy-washy, okay, so I've got maybe how much? Okay, perhaps you have got 100, perhaps you have got, say, for example, savings of 10,564 pound 29 pence. Listen to me carefully. Then what you do is, if you are not taking it seriously, so that's why you say, what is the amount I said? Subhanallah. Okay, 10,564 pound 29 pence. Let me write it down. 10,564 pound. Just I am mentioning a random amount. So now, if you do not take it seriously, you might make mistake in thinking that, okay, it could be roughly 10,000. This roughly, no. Because of this 564 pound 29 pence, so you will be, you will fall into this khuzuhu fagullu, right? Seize him and shackle him with the with the chain length of 70 yards, 70 cubits, right? So what you have to do is you have to figure out exactly all the pence, penny count, counting has to be there. That if it is 10,564 pound 29 pence, it has to be 10,564 pound 29 pence. This is on the assets and receivables. And at the same time, if you have got any loans or any payables, even the bills as well that you have to pay, you haven't, right? But you have to pay now, right? So that one also, you count all penny up to penny level, right? Because what is happening is that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the same time doesn't want to deprive you, right? So that's why you have to count that also. And then make the net amount, what is the net surplus you have. And then if it falls into Nisab, then you have to pay the Zakat. So now, Zakat is a condition to be Muslim. If you read Surah Tawbah, verse number 5 and verse number 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in verse number 5, Allah is saying that, those who are mushrikun, you are allowed to basically, fight against them, then kill them, right? So not anywhere, everywhere, obviously in the battlefield, yeah. If there is a jihad field there, then you do. But you let them go on their way, if they fulfill three things. فَإِن تَابُوا أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ فَخَلُّوا سَبِيلِهِمْ. So that means they are free from it. Okay, so, and then it becomes haram to kill them. It becomes haram to fight against them, right? So if someone does the tawbah, says maybe he was a non-Muslim, but now he has made tawbah, he became Muslim, basically Iman, and then he did establish prayer, he started establishing prayer, and then he's giving zakat. So these are the three conditions basically to identify someone to be a Muslim, and then his blood and his honor becomes haram to you. So he cannot spill his blood, he cannot basically take his life, and he cannot disrespect him. Okay, so, and then the other verse, in verse number 11, again Allah is saying the exactly same thing. فَإِن تَابُوا وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. But if they repent, establish prayer, and give zakat, then what they do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning even better. That is, then they are your brothers in religion. إِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. Okay, so they become your brothers. Okay. Now, okay, so now there are a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam declared that I have been commanded to fight against the people unless they do these three things. Until and unless they do these three things. One is, they witness that La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no deity to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. Until they declare this, number one, meaning they take iman, shahada. Number two is aqimi salat, they pray, and number three is they pay zakat, establish prayer and pay zakat. Until they do these three things. Okay. So witness has to be witnessed, obviously. Somebody cannot witness just in his mind, in his heart. Okay, so that's why you would see in different mosques, when somebody becomes Muslim, what do you see? Then our imams, they say, okay, say la ilaha ashhadu la ilaha illallah. Then the person says, ashhadu la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Okay, so that means that has to be witnessed by somebody. So all the musallis in the masjid, we witness, somebody becoming new Muslim. Okay, so that means these three things have to be seen, witnessed by others, that you have witnessed La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and then establish prayer and also pay zakat. So if you don't do that, then the Rasulullah said that I've been commanded to fight against them. Okay, so now, but there is another hadith, similar hadith, but it was saying just only one. Until they say, they witness La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. They say kalima, they declare kalima. Okay, so in there, because Akimi Salatu Atu Zakat was not there, Umar radiallahu anhu took it a bit, how do I say, a little bit lighter than Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when some people from Arab, they started doing kufr, they started denying the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then one group of them, basically they denied paying zakat. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was consulting, Amruhum shura bainahum wa shawirum fil amr. This is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you become a leader of a community or a society or maybe a group of people or the country, what you do is, you decide, first you consult with your people and then decide. Amruhum shura bainahum. You decide based on your consultation, or washawirum fil amr. You consult in your decision making. Okay, so Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was consulting with his close companions. Okay, Umar radiallahu anhu was one of them. So most of the Sahaba companions, they were a bit scared. If Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was saying that some people are denying to pay zakat, so I basically want to declare war against them. What do you think? Then most of the companions, they said, maybe you should be lenient because otherwise they may, leave Islam. So, in our community in the present day, this happens, We want to basically place Islam in a palatable way. Say, okay, don't be too difficult, don't be too extreme. In the name of basically being a little bit liberal, what we tend to do is, okay, maybe the more people would not be attracted to Islam. So what you do is you don't do this, like say, for example, make the hijab a little bit more flexible, more, what is it called, attractable, so that people get attracted to Islam. No. Follow this example of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, that most of the companions were saying that be lenient, right? Even Umar radiallahu anhu, and he was saying it by quoting the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the second hadith that I mentioned, where he just only mentioned La ilaha illallah, declaring La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and the other two, Aqimi salatu wa atu zakat, he didn't mention sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then, subhanallah, Umar radiallahu anhu was saying he was a tough man, he was famous for adalat, the establishing justice, during his khilafah, right? So that Umar radiallahu anhu, so strong principled man, he was also a bit kind of scared, and he wanted to take the lenient position. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said no in response to it. He said, by Allah, I will definitely fight against those people, those who differentiate between praying, establishing prayer and paying zakat. Because zakat is the right, the haqq, okay, of your wealth. You have to pay to purify your wealth, your mal, okay. And again, he is saying, is swearing on Allah, by Allah, even if they if they deny to what is it called, pay zakat in terms of one camel, right? In another narration, it came as a kind of even the rope of the camel, if they deny giving for zakat, even the rope of the camel, right? I am going to basically go with full war against them, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is it called? Okay, no, during and as the practice of time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I am going to go for fight against these people. So it is very serious, the consequence. So we must take it seriously and try to calculate. Those of you, say for example, our youth, young generation, some of you, have entered into some new job, and then maybe 1 year has gone past. After 1 year, if you see some surplus is there in your account, and then be serious, and then try to see whether the surplus is equivalent to your Nisab. All right. So I'm going to give you the definition in a moment, inshallah, of Nisab. Okay. Now, what is the ruling, the Sharia ruling? If somebody denies paying zakat, according to Islamic Sharia, they become kafir. Like salat, man taraka salata faqad, man taraka salata mut'ammidan faqad kafara, aw kama qala Rasulullah. That those who, what is it called? Do not pray, intentionally. They become kafir. But for that reason, you don't put your fingers to somebody saying that you are kafir. No, don't do that. The ruling is, if you see someone not praying at all, just advise him, saying that, my dear brother, my dear sister, I see that you're not praying, but what is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu. If somebody doesn't pray, they become kafir. So you don't need to say that you are kafir. Sometimes our people, they tend to make mistake, because you're not praying, you're kafir. There are, even among the ulamas, so-called ulamas, I don't want to consider them ulama, they are ignorant, they, what is it called? Call each other kafir. Na'uzubillah. We shouldn't, because Rasulullah sallallahu said, nobody should say other person kafir, another person kafir, because between them two, one of them becomes kafir. If who you are calling kafir, if he is kafir, that is well and good. But if he doesn't kafir because you said it, so then you become kafir. Na'uzubillah. So make sure, takfiri is haram. We shouldn't do it. Okay. So now, but at the same time, we shouldn't shy away from mentioning the Sharia rules. And the rule is, if somebody deny paying zakat, is a kafir. Yusuf al-Qaradawi rahimahullah, in his famous book Fiqh Zakat, the fiqh of zakat, the Sharia rulings on zakat. It's a big volume book, subhanallah, so detailed. It is there in English, in some other languages as well. I would advise you maybe to buy it, subhanallah, read it, this whole, and you will see that all the detailed rulings are there, subhanallah. Okay, so in there, he quoted Imam Nawawi rahimahullah saying that whoever, what is it called? Whoever denies paying zakat, you need to see whether this person is a kind of a new Muslim. Still, he hasn't learned the ruling of zakat. That's why, out of ignorance, he is not paying. Then your responsibility would be to try to explain to him, convince him. And then even after that, if he still stays stubborn, not paying zakat, then he is kafir. Okay. Another could be, there are, he's saying, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah say that a person may be living in a remote area out, what is it called, far away from the standard society. And because of that, he's not fully aware, basically out of jahiliyyah, out of ignorance, if somebody is not paying. So our responsibility, collective responsibility, is to try to explain to him. It's fardiyat, it's obligation. And then after that, if he still denies, then obviously Imam Nawawi rahimahullah concluded that he is kafir. Okay. Now, obligation on who? There are three conditions. You have to have three conditions in yourself. You have to be a Muslim, you have to be baligh, meaning adult, and you have to be a sane person. So there is, zakat is not forced upon, what is it called, the child or children, those who are not adult. And it is not forced upon the insane people, the mad or insane people. And zakat is not forced upon the non-Muslims as well. Okay, so it is, one has to have all three characteristics. Okay. Now, in terms of, the assets and wealth, what are the categories of goods or animals or things that you need to pay zakat on, right? what are the zakatable assets basically? So there are 7 conditions you need to look into. Out of them, 3 of them are most important one. Number 1 is the milkiyat, the full ownership of the thing you have to have. So for example, you have got you are involved in a, maybe, like government pension scheme, and then maybe there are some pension schemes, they have got the policy of kind of locked pension for until this many years, or until your 65th birthday, you cannot withdraw. So it is locked. So that means it has not come to your ownership or your possession, right? So for that, you don't need to pay zakat. But if you are in a pension scheme, which where it is flexible, you can withdraw anytime, whenever you want, then obviously for that pension, you have to consider that pension amount as your savings, under the category of surplus. So you have to pay zakat for that. So that's why the full ownership has to come there, has to be there. Number 2 is, you have come across a thing or an asset, or a wealth. You are thinking, whether it could be a zakatable asset. Then you have to look at the characteristic of a growth possibility. Say for example, money grows. If you try, or a land, if you try, you can earn money, you can grow your income. So this growing possibility has to be there. And number 3 is condition number 3 is wealth. That wealth has to be halal. If there is no zakat on haram wealth. Okay, that's a period. All right. Number 4, it has to come to Nisab level. And I haven't defined it yet. I'm going to mention what is the Nisab amount for this year as well. Okay. Number 5, it has to be obviously extra over your fundamental needs. The fundamental needs, we have got 5 fundamental needs as a citizen, right? What is it? The food, shelter, education, what is it called? And the clothing, yeah. And the health, your treatment, health treatment. Okay, so these are fundamental needs. Basically, obviously, if zakat will be on the extra over your fundamental needs. That's why zakat is not on your income, rather on your surplus, staying there for 1 year. That is the number 6 condition, that a position has to be for 1 year. And number 7 is, you need to be debt free. If you have got debt, what you have to do is you have to deduct the debt amount, the debt amount. But obviously, if you have got a long-term debt, say for example, a property mortgage, you have taken mortgage for 25 years, then will you basically deduct then the whole 25 years of mortgage in the whole property value? No. What you do is, because zakat is payable for each year, so you just deduct only the mortgage payment of the whole 1 year. Suppose you have to pay mortgage £1,000 each month, so you have to deduct basically £12,000, not say £300,000 you owe to the bank. No, not that one. I hope it is clear. So any personal debt you have, you have to deduct. Okay. Now, pay where? Pay to who? Who are the recipients? There are 8 recipients. So innama sadaqatu lil fuqara wal miskin wal masakin wal amilin alayha wal mu'allafati qulubihim wa fi riqab wal gharimin wa fi sabilillah wa ibn sabil. These are the 8 categories. Okay, it's 8 recipients. And faridatun min Allah. Allah has made it fard upon you. Okay, wallahu alimun hakim, and Allah is all knowing, all wise. Okay, so what are they? Number 1, fakir, the poor. The beggars are poor. It is very clear. Okay, somebody is poor, and somebody is such poor that he has lost his dignity, and then he is not feeling shy to basically ask for help, and that is poor. But for miskin is somebody has become poor, but he feels shy because of his status, because of his lineage, because of his educational status, that he's very educated, but suddenly he became poor. But he's feeling shy to ask for money, ask for help. They are called the needy people, the miskin. Miskin, nun sakin. All right, so somebody who has got nothing. Okay. In Urdu, it is saying upur mein sherwani, andar mein pereshani. Outside, maybe he's wearing nice clothes, because he got it from his father, but inside his t-shirt, maybe is torn, like in, which is, what is it called? Very old, right? So that means outside you cannot recognize him, that he is actually poor, and that is called the miskin. Number 3, for those employed to collect zakat. So that means if you think about any charity, what is it called? Charity organizations, obviously they have to spend some money on the administration of collecting and then distributing. So they have to employ some staff there. So this is also another group of recipients, basically. So that's why, don't be too encouraged by those charities who claim that we are 100% zakat. We follow 100% zakat formula. No. There is nothing, there shouldn't be anything called 100% zakat formula, because then who is going to pay these employees? If you do not pay the employees, then what will happen? They will not distribute, what is it called? They will not distribute efficiently, obviously, because their time has got value. Right? So that they don't need to look for earning money from somewhere else, so that they don't need to stay hungry. Yeah. So they have to be paid at the market wage rate, obviously in a decent, at the decent level, not very high. There are some charities, they pay their CEOs 100,000, 200,000, I don't know. So that is too much. So very decent salary and wages that could fall into this category. Okay. And then number 4, for bringing hearts together for Islam. So it is basically to make the non-Muslim sympathize Islam, okay, or the non-Muslim countries, and being what is it called, supportive of a Muslim country, right, or of a Muslim cause. So that is another group of recipients. Number 5, for freeing the captives, right, of maybe what is it called, war prisoners, or maybe subhanallah, Muslims in Uyghur, right? They are captives of their country, of their government, yeah. Or slaves. This is the category: captives or slaves. Number 6, for those in debt. Obviously, this is one of the sector, or one of the recipient group. You will get so much reward. If somebody is indebted, so if you can make him debt free, subhanallah. Say sometimes we see that in our community, in our mosques, the Imam Sahib, before doing the janazah of somebody, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do this. He would call people before praying janazah of the dead body, right? You'd call people that, okay, if the person has got any debt, is there anyone who would like to volunteer to pay off his debt? Until somebody takes the responsibility, he would not pray janazah. And eventually, if nobody from the musallis, come forward, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself would take the responsibility of paying his debt. Subhanallah. So that's why we don't have this habit. We need to make this habit, inshallah, in our community as well. Go and tell the imams, in your mosques, please, whenever there is any janazah you're going to pray, before it, please make sure that the person who you are going to send to grave, to do the janazah prayer for, please try to make him debt free if he has. Ask his relatives if he has got any debt, and then try to make sure that someone from them is taking the responsibility of paying his debt. Okay, because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, somebody with debt will never enter Jannah. Somebody dying with debt will never enter Jannah. So before putting your beloved, you may cry, you may become very emotional about your brother, about somebody, a good friend of yours, yeah? But the point is, if you really love him, then what you should do is, you should make sure that, before you put him in the grave, you take the responsibility of paying his debt, and as soon as possible, pay off his debt, inshallah. You're going to get a double reward, inshallah. Number 7, for the cause of Allah, fi sabilillah, that is jihad fi sabilillah. It is either for the fight against the kuffar, or for what is it called? For fight for justice. Somebody is trying to fight for justice. They are also eligible to get your zakat. And number 8 is wabn sabil, is the travelers, basically. Very interesting thing is, a traveler, if a millionaire traveler, back home he is millionaire, but he came to your country and he has become musafir, and suddenly, he has fallen short of money. He will also fall into the category of getting zakat. I hope it is clear. Very interesting category. Okay, somebody millionaire, but at the moment, because he cannot avail his money, which is or the asset which is there in his country, right? And then suddenly he became vulnerable, so he would fall into this category. Okay. Now the Nisab is actually according to gram. For silver, it is, if you want to write it down, 612.36 grams, and its value approximately, according to 6th of April price, right, this year, £366.80. And the Nisab for gold is 87.48 grams, and the approximate value on 6th of April this year is £4,139.55. Okay. It is from say Islamic Relief. They calculated on 6th of April, but National Zakat Foundation, you can check. I tried to basically gather some of the authentic what is it called, institutions website, and using the value of silver, the weight is same, 612.36 grams, but value is a bit different because they do it every day current price. So it is £385.79, and for the gold it is £4,247.15. Okay, so if you have got this amount, 87.48 gram, or in terms of tola or vori, basically in the Pak subcontinent people, they say vori and or tola. Okay, so or in the Middle East as well. It is 7.5 tola. Okay, so if you have got this Nisab level amount, net amount of assets and receivables after deducting the liabilities and the payables, then you have to pay zakat. Okay. So maybe I stop here. If you have got any question, maybe I have 1 or 2 questions I will ask, inshallah. I will try to answer, but let me first take some questions. Yeah. There was one from iPhone, somebody raised hand. By mistake, I basically lowered his hand. If you want to raise your hand again, please. Muhammad. Yes, Muhammad, are you there? You raised your hand.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. I just went to the bathroom. Yeah, I had a question. So, obviously you spoke about how zakat is compulsory. What if someone is in a lot of debt? Is it better, or do they still have to pay zakat, or is it better for them to pay off their debt first?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. Like what you have to do is, as I said, all your assets and receivables.
Yeah.
Say somebody owes money to you. You have lent money. So what you have to do is, and if this money definitely you're going to be, you're going to receive it, right?
Yeah.
It has not become bad debt. So what you have to do, you have to add all your assets. For example, you have got, Nisab level gold, and this 6,000 something pound that I mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
So you put into the category of assets and receivables. On top of it, say for example, the day when you are what is it called, counting to pay zakat, say in the one day in the month of Ramadan, in your account there is a surplus remaining, there may be 2,000 pounds. So what do you do? 6,000 pounds plus 2,000 pounds. I think I should mention exact amount maybe. Okay, so it's not 6,000, sorry, 4,247 pound 15 pence. So for example, you have got 5,000 pounds. 5,000 pound plus your surplus money in your account, balance money in your account, 2,000 pounds, 7,000. You, somebody owes money to you, say 5,000 pounds, right? And you have not lost hope on it yet. So that means you are hoping to get it. So this 5,000 pound you add. So how much is it? 5,000, 2,000, and 5,000. So this is 12,000 pound. Okay. Then you deduct how much debt you have. You have got debts at 10,000 pound. Okay.
Yeah.
So you deduct. So how much you're left with?
2,000.
You're left with 12,000 minus 10,000. So 2,000. Are you clear? So this 2,000 falls short of your Nisab level, which is 4,247 pound 15 pence, right?
Yeah.
So that means you don't need to pay zakat.
Okay.
So definitely, this is one of the conditions that you have to be debt free, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned about seven conditions. So debt free means after deducting all your debts,
Yeah.
right? All your payables.
Yeah.
All
what would you categorize as debt in this case? Because obviously, like, obviously there are a lot of people who are in debt. They might be in debt for 10 years. So would they not be paying zakat for 10 whole years that they're trying to pay off the debt?
So think about this property mortgage. Yeah, think about property mortgage.
Yeah.
So you have taken a mortgage for say 25 years.
Yeah.
Right. So say for example, you have taken a mortgage of 250,000 pounds for 25 years. So would you deduct all 250,000? No. If you have got this kind of long-term debt, so you have to deduct only 1 year equivalent of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Monthly, whatever payables, whatever you have to pay. So if it is, say for example, okay, monthly you have to pay say 600 pound. So 600 times 12. How much? Who is good in maths? 7,200. Right?
Yeah.
7,200.
200.
Okay. So you deduct that amount, not the whole 200 or whatever thousand.
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feekum. I have a question regarding zakat. Is it?
Oh, that was me. That was me.
Okay, that's fine. Is there any other question? But there is someone asking for about the cryptocurrency. Is cryptocurrency zakatable? Nowadays people buy Bitcoin or some other popular cryptocurrencies. Yeah. So cryptocurrency, as long as it is established in the market, you can buy and sell. And the 7 conditions that I mentioned, like the milkiya, the ownership. Say, for example, like pound, it's zakatable. All the currencies, established currencies in the world, in the market, currency market, are zakatable. So cryptocurrency, those cryptocurrencies have become established in the market, say crypto exchange market. Yeah. One of them being say Bitcoin, right? Ether. There is another one, I think Ethereum. Okay. So those who are established and you can buy and sell, you can get the ownership of it by buying it, right? And it has got the growing ability as well. so you can do the trading and and then increase, right? And third condition is it has to be halal. So you have to check which cryptocurrency you are buying. There are cryptocurrencies which are somehow related to, say, the not halal projects, right? So obviously, if something is haram, there is no zakat on it. So that's why if you have got any cryptocurrency in your possession, if you are trading, definitely you have to count 2.5% on it. Oh, I didn't mention the ratio or the proportion. It is 2.5% on your surplus or the net. What is it? Assets and receivables, net of liabilities and payables. You have to pay 2.5% on it. All right. So 2.5% on the possession of cryptocurrency that you are trading. What about, say, for example, you have bought some Bitcoin, you don't have any intention of buying, selling. For that, there are two opinions. One is, because you're not trading, you don't need to pay zakat. But another is, to be on the safe side, you pay zakat on that as well, because 2.5% doesn't count too much, right? So I hope. And then similar thing, shares as well, same. It has to be halal share, share of halal business. And what is it called? If you are trading shares, buying, selling, then you have to pay zakat definitely. But for long term, just you have invested, what is it? You bought a share of a company, but you don't have any intention of selling, you don't need to pay zakat for that. So that's it, I think. If I stop here,
can I just say something?
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Welcome, sir.
If I got, does that mean I have to pay my debt off first and then pay zakat after, if I have debt?
Yeah, after deducting your debt, if you are, say for example, you have got some surplus. Yes, sister?
Yeah.
You have got some surplus. Say surplus is, say for example, what is it called? So 20,000 pounds. And then you have got debt, 25,000 pounds. So you deduct your debt, you are left with net surplus negative, isn't it? Are you with me?
Yeah.
So that means you don't need to pay zakat.
Oh.
Or another example, you have got 20,000 pounds. You have calculated, say for example, all your assets. Obviously, not all assets are under the category of zakat. Okay. Maybe I'll explain a little bit after this. So all your assets and the receivables. So for example, somebody owes money to you, you have added there. Yeah, you lend money. So basically, you're going to receive it. So all of them, and whatever balance in your account, you add all of them to be on the surplus side, right? Minus your debt. And then you have found out, okay, the Nisab is basically, I would say, what is it called? According to Hanafi Mazhab, Nisab is actually based on the silver. So silver Nisab is 366 pound 80 pence. Okay. So now you found out that, okay, after deducting your debt, you are left with 400 pounds. So that means you pay 2.5% of 400.
Oh, so but if I go 10,000 pound debt, I have to pay the 10,000 pound off first, and then.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. If you are left with, look.
If I'm left with nothing, then I don't pay no zakat.
If you are left with, after deducting your debt, if you are left with less than 366 pound 80 pence for this year,
yeah,
then you don't need to pay zakat.
Oh, okay.
According to this silver standard, and according to Hanafi, most of us are Hanafi. Yeah, so Hanafi madhab follows Imam Abu Hanifa's ruling is you base the nisab on the nisab of silver, not gold. Okay, so individual nisab of gold is Value is this year 4,247 pound 15 pence. Okay. Individual nisab of silver is 385. Actually, today's current rate is 385 pound 79 pence. So, but when it comes to calculating the zakat on the net surplus after deducting debt, you take the nisab of silver. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Jazakallah khairan.
Barakallah feek. Any other question?
Yes, Dr. Imran, I've got a question. What is
Yes,
your
please.
definition of debt? Because there's different types of debt. It may not be relevant to the people here because this is a youth group, but I'm talking about old people like me who may have a mortgage. That's a
Yes.
form of debt. But if you use that as debt, then very few people in the Muslim community will owe any zakat. So when you
Okay,
say
so the
debt, what do you mean?
Okay, so debt is, if you think about mortgage, or any long-term debt, say for example, you have got mortgage of 200,000 pounds. You owe to the bank, say 200,000 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So you don't deduct all 200,000. You deduct only 1 year worth of mortgage, 1 year payable. Are you getting my point? Say monthly, if you have to pay £1,000 monthly. So what you do, you calculate 1,000 times 12. So there is 12,000 pound you deduct. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. I mean, that's new to me.
Yes.
I've never done that.
So if you have not deducted, then you did some of your zakat payment became sadaqah. No problem. You got the reward.
But it's not clear in the advice. None of the advice you get on zakat explains that.
Because, like what happens, all the zakat nitty-gritty rulings are very complicated, right? And very, what is it called? Subtle. So that's why not everybody can give you clear answer. And that's why people tend to avoid these questions, okay? Even among the ulamas as well. And nobody wants to basically be, what is it called, responsible of you making mistake. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So that's why people, what is it called, want to take a safe route by saying that, okay, as you're saying that, not giving clear advice, but you should go and ask those who give you clear advice.
Okay. So
yes.
just to be clear, you can take 1 year's mortgage, monthly mortgage payments off your zakat payable. Is that the previous 12 months or the next 12 months?
It is previous 12 months.
Previous 12 months. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sultana.
No, if it is any shudi mortgage, it is same debt count, because if it is bank mortgage, is I think it's different, because it's a shudi mortgage. I think you can minus from shudi mortgage to zakat.
That's a good point, because interest mortgage is haram, so ultimately you shouldn't. That's another. You can see another aspect of the question, right? Okay, thank you. That is true. But if you are halal, if you are on halal mortgage, you can deduct 1 year worth, because haram is not counted, as I said, whether on the liability or on the asset, on the receivables, on the payables, right? Haram cannot be counted. Simple. Okay. So, for example, you've got what is it? Somebody has got 50,000 pounds surplus on alcohol income. So that will not come. You don't add. You are into haram. Simply, you are getting sin. Yeah. So Allah doesn't want anything which is haram. So Allah wants tayyib, tayyibat. What is the pure? Allah wants money or the sacrifice or the spending in the way of Allah from the pure assets, pure mal, pure money. Okay, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I think maybe we finish here, inshallah.
Inshallah, if there's no further questions or any clarity required from Dr. Imran, we can end it here.
You can ask question, maybe through WhatsApp. You can send me individual questions. I'm sure you know my number, 07961422183. Okay, so we finished then.
Okay, let's finish here, and remember, if you want to make a short dua.
We say the dua for ending the majlis, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta